What's going on, everyone? It's time for another Gothic horror film review. Today we're actually going to look at the seventh Hammer Dracula film called Count Dracula and His Vampire Brides. I'm not sure if I even reviewed any of the other ones, but I thought I'd review this one. It's also known as The Satanic Rites of Dracula and Dracula and His Vampire Bride. So it was released by Hammer Pictures November 3rd, 1973, and it was directed by Alan Gibson, who did film another Hammer Dracula film, Dracula AD 1972, which I don't think I reviewed that yet. But he also did films like Witness for the Prosecution, a woman called Gilda, and Goodbye Gamine. Anyways, yeah, this had a box office earnings of only $325,000. This is an interesting film, I'd say, for a 70s Dracula movie. So, Count Dracula is basically summoned by an evil satanic cult, and who are sacrificing virgin women to be his bride, and it's up to a police investigation to go and hunt them down. But Dracula ends up helping them in other ways with some other crimes that are going on. Overall, I thought this film was pretty amusing. This feels a lot like the first James Bond type movie. This one has that sort of feel to it. It's sort of like a Dirty Harry type of cat and mouse crime movie mixed in with some Dracula stuff. It has a really cool setup. I really enjoyed the setup in this, and the look of it actually looks pretty good. Some parts do look pretty cheapy, but for what it is, I thought it was pretty amusing and entertaining. For the most part, I thought the ending was pretty lackluster and pretty boring and quite not worth the sit through. But the first hour is actually pretty engaging and pretty good. There's some pretty good characters in there. Peter Cushing, I believe, plays Van Helsing, I think, and but he has an untimely demise. And when Dracula is revealed in this, it's pretty spooky. They have a pretty good spooky scene with him when he shows up. It's not like your typical just comes out of a coffin. They have quite a sort of like a haunted house setup, and I thought that was pretty good and pretty well done. And I thought this film was very amusing. And it is a little slow, little tame. It is violent for a 1973 movie, but and there is some pretty good blood scenes and stuff. The acting is actually surprisingly pretty decent in this, and overall, I just thought the story needed a little bit more beefing up to make it a little more thrilling and maybe a little more darker. It would have been really good, but for what it is, I thought it was all right and better than I was expecting. So I'm going to give Dracula and His Vampire Brides a 2.5 out of 5. It's decent. It's a fun little watch, and you don't really have to watch the other ones to get what's going on. So, yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think it's here on YouTube, but I know it's on Screenbox, or you can watch it for free. I'll link it down below. And also make sure you check out my Instagram that's linked down below. That's where I always post clips of films and review in the future. All my stories, you put the film title in there and some history thing in there as well. And my Letterbox is also linked down below at Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating after watching the film. Same my Twitch down below, reviews_Derek. So follow me on those platforms. Stay loop this channel. Like this video, share some more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. If you have any films or film franchises in any genre and on any streaming service that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. And make sure you let me know what your favorite Dracula film is from Hammer, and also what your favorite Hammer film is down below. And if I should review more of them, let me know down below as well. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully find something weird, obscure, and odd. They probably never thought I should connect together, and also share my opinions on popular film stuff, come out, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell, because we're going to go back to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise and talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. So make sure you tune in for that, and watch out for Dracula helping out the police, because, well, that's what vampires do nowadays, especially when they can walk around in daylight, especially with all these new mutagens and everything like that. It's scary nowadays. And I guess I'll see you all in the next one. So until then, cheers.